Well, all right, everyone. Thank you very much. It looks like everyone can hear me. It looks like we are at the top of the hour. I do value your time, so let's kind of get cranking into today's webinar. First, I just want to thank everyone and honor you for actually being here today and taking your time to be on this webinar, because I understand that your time matters, and you've decided to use a little bit of your time, which you'll never get back, to help your school grow, to get your message out there so that you can help more kids in your community. And I just want to take a second and thank you for that and honor you for actually doing what needs done, being that 1%. 99% of the other people in our industry have not even thought about being on this call today. They're willing to be busy doing other stuff, running around in circles, and you've decided to take the time to actually do something and to become a better leader, owner, or manager of your private school. So today, just real quick, what we're going to cover on our webinar, we're going to talk about Facebook pay-per-click or Facebook ads. You'll hear them kind of called the same thing back and forth. We're also going to talk about, sorry about that, I had a spider crawling across my desk. We're also going to talk about Power Editor, which is how we do really good ads. We're going to talk about advanced imaging, and then, as always, at the end, I will go ahead and take questions from all of you. I know our time here is scheduled for, I believe, 60 to 90 minutes is what I'm planning for. I will, as always, stay on until I've answered everyone's questions. A couple of assumptions before we get too far into this, so that I'm not backtracking all the time. I assume that you have a Facebook account and a business page. If you don't, you're going to need one before you can go any further. I'm not going to really cover those in today's webinar. I'm going to assume that you know who your target audience is, who the avatars are that you're trying to market to. One of the big things with Facebook, as opposed to like a Google Ads, where Google AdWords we target people who are searching, we're targeting their terms. With Facebook, we're actually targeting demographic and psychographics. So who they are, what age they are, what kind of job they have, male, female, and we can also target what I call the psychographics. So what are they doing? Are they homeowners? Do they buy kids' books? We can target that kind of stuff. So you really need to know who your avatar is going into this, because if you're just trying to guess, you're going to end up spending a lot of extra money that you didn't need to, targeting people who are not at all going to ever enroll because they don't have your kids who want to go to private school. You are not targeting everyone 18 to 65. You want to have a process to convert leads into enrollments. This is not going to get you all the enrollments. I'm assuming already that you have a process that once we get a lead, once we get someone to come to your website or to call you, there's a process in place to take care of that and to convert them. All we're going to do is create leads out of the air. And I'm also going to assume that you have the Chrome web browser by Google, or you know how to get it. The Power Editor only runs in Google Chrome for some very strange reason. So it's a great, so you need to have that. If you don't, there's plenty of videos. It takes about 2 minutes to install Chrome. A couple more assumptions: that you understand that the plural of you is yous or y'alls. And I also want to continue to reiterate that you understand that you as the leader are still responsible for the marketing of your school. You need to take full 100% responsibility for everything. Nobody else will care as much as you do about your school, and you know your avatars and your goals better than anybody else. And finally, you need to continue to be the chief marketing officer. I think everyone's heard me say before that there's two jobs which, as the owner leader, you should never turn over. The first one is the checkbook, and the second one is the marketing. You need to have your hands in those at all times, because again, you're the one who knows your avatars. You're the one that's talking to every single parent. You're the one who understands what the goal of your school is. And unless you're involved in these processes, you don't have to be doing all the work, but you do have to be in charge of all the work. All right, so what is your goal? Before we get into doing an ad, we need to understand, what do we hope to obtain from this? So the first option that we have is, are you looking to get likes, people who like your page, people who want to follow? And this allows us to market to the followers later. So if our goal of running a Facebook ad is to get people to like our Facebook page, that's great, because we can always come back to those folks later and market to anyone who likes our page. This is a great, powerful way to get to people. So is that our goal? Is our goal to get someone to view our page? This is another really great way. I want someone to go and read one of the authority figure articles that I've written. I want someone to watch a video. I want someone just to go watch my page. And this is also great because then I can come back and I can do what's known as retargeting to them. And we'll talk about that in another presentation. Again, retargeting, I could spend an entire 2 hours talking just about retargeting. But it's a way that we can take someone who's been to our page and then keep showing an ad to them on Facebook every time they come back to Facebook, have an ad for us show up. Is our goal to get people to opt in, which is list building? Do I want them to give me their name and email address so I can stay connected with them? And finally, is my goal to get them to call me or to take a tour or to get on the phone or show up at just a event? This can also be too. So that's really the 4 big what's your goal. But you need to know that before you go into setting up an ad, because if you don't know what your goal is, it's going to be really challenging to get there. Again, if you don't know where you're going, it's hard to get there with the map without a map. Okay, so the basics still do apply. I just want everyone to understand that. I'm not going to dig into this a whole lot. The pay-per-click rules still apply to Facebook. So you still need an attention-grabbing headline. You need benefit-driven copy, not feature-driven, but benefit-driven. And you need a call to action. Those are all still there. We talked about them in Google AdWords and every other pay-per-click targeting thing that we've ever done. They still apply here. Just because this is social media doesn't mean that you don't have to be doing this. Those rules apply everywhere. Some things that have changed, though, is that images now matter so much with Facebook, because Facebook is really an image-driven social media. That's what people do. So your images are what's going to get people's attention. Then they will read the text. I imagine you do the same thing. You flip through your feeds, you scroll through them pretty fast, looking for the picture that catches your attention. When you have the picture that catches your attention, then you read what your friend was doing or read what the ad is telling you about. So it's the image that's going to get people's attention as they're scrolling. Some of the most powerful one, faces, and faces looking at people, that eye contact. The human brain is designed to catch people's faces and to look into their eyes. Women, babies, and kids all tend to grab the human subconscious mind and get people to look at them. The expression matters in an image, and it doesn't have to always be happy, but it should be congruous with what your image, what you're talking about. If you're talking about how there's problems with our public school system, then you should probably have a frowning face. If it's happy about how great things are, then you want a smiling face. But the expression does matter, and it will get people's attention. You want people looking or gesturing at the text. This is especially important if you're planning on running an ad in the right sidebar. You want people kind of pointing back towards the text. Or if you're running a full newsfeed ad, a lot of times having somebody looking down at where your button to learn more is, or where your content is, or gesturing towards it really does help, because the human eye, we're ingrained really into following eye looking or gesturing and seeing what people are looking or gesturing at. You also want your image to be slightly incongruous with other news feeds, because again, people are just flipping through these pages. They're just scrolling through as fast as they can. And what you're looking to do is you're looking to get them to stop and look at your picture. So this can mean different colors. This can mean a picture that's out of place. So your head with a little bubble like in a cartoon. Those are the kind of things that will get people to stop and think and go, there's something different about this picture. Let me now stop and read. I'll also say the non-Facebook colors. So you don't want to be using those blues that Facebook has, because then your image can get lost and people just think it's a part of the newsfeed. Red backgrounds are great. Yellow backgrounds are great. Something that catches people's attention and gets them to stop and think. One of my great tools for this right now is a website called Canva.com. And Canva has just a stockpile of images, and you can actually then put text over the top and then download the image and upload it to your Facebook feeds. And sometimes there's a lot of free stock there. Some of them you do have to pay for, but it might be 50 cents or $1 to buy an image. And if you're running an ad already, that is way worth it. So Canva, one of my great tools that All right, so as we get into doing the ads, you need to know who your avatar is. And some great questions I love to help me figure out who I want to do this with, especially the avatar. And this is really helpful when I start looking at going into the Power Editor, which we'll do here in a little bit, because we can target these people. So the first one is, who are the authority figures and thought leaders of your ideal customers? Who do they follow? Who is the pastor that they follow? Who's the other authority figures? Who do they read? What pages and blogs do they read? Who are those people? Because we can target people who like them. What books, magazines, or website does your ideal customer read? Who are they reading? Who are the authors? Are they reading Parenting Magazine? What magazines are they reading? What websites do they go to? This has actually been one that I've started to add more recently, because a lot of our parents now do not necessarily read a magazine or a book. They go to websites to get their information. So what are these books? Because again, I can target somebody that is within 10 miles of my school, that has a kid that's under 18, that's a homeowner that also likes an author. And that's our ideal customer. So we can really kind of narrow it down if we know who they are. What events do they attend? What events do our ideal customers attend? Because again, I can target people that want to go to those events. I can target people that look like them. Where do they live is another one. And this is not that they live in Denver, Colorado, that they live in Chicago. This is what neighborhood do they live in? What streets do they live on? We can get pretty granular with this, and it's helpful to understand what towns they live in, what areas they live in, what neighborhoods they live in, because we can geographically target people for that. And the big one is, what's specifically unique about your ideal customers? Your school exists for a unique need. It is different than every other private parochial school out there. You don't go through the efforts to make a school and to get it running unless there's something unique about it. And because of that, you're a fit for people who are unique. So what is it about the people that are already attending your school that makes them who they are, so that you can target them? This also really goes into lookalike audiences, are just tremendously powerful with this. Again, I'm not going to talk about that in this presentation. That's, again, a whole nother webinar that I'll do on another day, talking about the lookalike audiences. But just know that if you know what's specifically unique about your customer, you can then target them when we get into the Power Editor and you start seeing all the options. Reminder, Facebook uses over 2,000 data points to run your ads, which means that there's over 2,000 data points that I can select from. So if I know what's unique and specific about my ideal client, I can target. So the first way that we can run ads is by what's known as boosting posts. And this is used to show an already made post to a target audience. Now this is posts that have already been seen by people who like your page. So I don't need to necessarily target and market to them. I'm trying to market to other people who are like them. And this is great for those educational and authority figure posts that we write, that I tell you that you should be doing one a week at minimum, if not two. there are also limited targeting options within boosting a post. So again, this is just, you've already written the post, you put it up on the people that already like and follow you. So this is parents that are already enrolled, but this is also people who just like you even though they might not be enrolled with you yet. And then I can take that authority figure post and great article that you wrote or that I wrote and get it out to a larger audience of people. That's really the purpose. And it's also great because I can also target very quickly, people who visited my website in the last 60 days. That's probably my best one, is anyone who is not a fan of my current page but has visited me in the last 60 days. Let me show them one of my authority figure articles and to try and keep convincing them that we are the best option. All right, so here's just an old post that I have on my personal page, on my personal business page. And you'll see right down as an admin, right down there in the corner, there's the button that says Boost Post. Again, I'm sure that as soon as this webinar is over, they're going to change and move this. They always do on me. But somewhere, it's almost always very easy to find. They want to make it quick, easy, and simple for you to spend money with Facebook. So just go ahead and click on that, and then what it does is it opens up a little dialog box that looks like this, which starts giving me some options. So I can choose what kind of a button do I want. Learn more, enroll more, or call, book now, buy. Generally, I find for the informational posts, for the educational posts, I want to go ahead and learn more. I can pick my audience. So I can pick either audiences that I've already marketed to, or I can create a new audience. I generally find that I like to pull an audience that already exists for this. I will have created those audiences in the Power Editor, which we'll go into here shortly, and then just pull those. Again, this is designed to be quick and easy. I can go ahead and choose the budget. We'll go ahead and jump to the next page. There's the budget again. And then it kind of gives me the estimated reach. So up to 5,000 people. So if I spend $20 a day for one day, I'll reach somewhere between 1,900 and 5,000 people with this ad, which is a pretty good number of people within my community that I want to reach. I can run this ad until the day, so I can say, yeah, let's just do it for one day, but let's have it run until tomorrow or next day. I can choose the conversion pixel if I want to. And then down here is the account in case you have multiple credit cards or multiple business accounts that you can use. And again, that's everything that it takes to do a boosted post. It's going to take you 3 minutes at most once you post article to your blog and then link that to your Facebook, and then real quick take a couple minutes and boost the post. As I say, really quick, really simple, not necessarily as many options as I would have in the Power Editor, but a tremendous amount of speed. So that's what I love about that. All right, into the Power Editor, which we were just talking about. This is really, it has all the options, which is quite frankly good and bad. The good is I have all the options. The bad is it can be overwhelming because I have all the options. I have all those 2,000 data points that I can match. I have all my custom audience types. I have geo-targeting down to some very small niches. So I will just suggest that don't be overwhelmed, but realize that the Power Editor does give you all the options. It also, because it does have all the options, it takes a bit more time to create an ad. Whereas I can create a boosted post in 2 minutes, Power Editor ad's going to probably take me 10 to 15 minutes to get an ad up and running and going. And that's okay but I have to understand that that's one of the trade-offs of having all the extra options, is I do have to go through a bunch of those options. And I also find that the Power Editor is great for marketing ads, whereas the boosted posts are great for doing a informational ad. I find that the Power Editor ads that I create there, those are better for when I'm trying to actually gain enrollment. When it's that enrollment season, I'm trying to get all my ads out there to be targeting people. The other great thing about the Power Editor is that your ad or post, it actually does create a post, does not need to be seen by your current followers. So whereas a boosted post has to show up on your news feed in your school's timeline and will show up to the people that follow and like you, a ad that you've done inside the Power Editor, if you exclude people who already like your page, will not show up. This is great so you can, to some extent, know that your ad is not going to be showing up to people who are already enrolled with you. So if you make an offer that's maybe different than what some people have, by using the Power Editor and excluding people who are already enrolled with you, you can make sure that they're not seeing those ads or the post that's up there, so that they're not being inundated by ads and offers that maybe you don't want them to see. All right, so with that, I think the best thing to do is to jump over and jump into the actual Power Editor. All right, so here we are now inside of the Power Editor from Facebook. This is what gives us the most power of any of the editing for ads tools. As you can see, this is kind of a test account. I've got some other campaigns which we're running here that are now becoming active. But again, this is set up very much like Google AdWords is. So we've got campaigns, then we've got ad sets, and then ads. Really kind of set up, if you imagine this, just like you would Google AdWords, where it's campaigns, ad groups, and ads. So overarching campaign for a big project of some kind for one entire school. Ad sets are different groups of ads that are intended to run for a purpose or a target audience. So this can be either people that are coming from a marketing group of some kind or a batch, and then or an area. You can also do area. You can do likes or interests. And then finally, you've got the ads, because you can have multiple ads running to any one group, and you can test and tweak over time. So let's just real quick, we're just going to go through and show how to set up a full campaign of ads here. Right up here, first button. Of course, I will promise you, as soon as I finish this webinar, this will change this afternoon. So things do change, but generally it's going to look somewhat the same. So first we just go ahead and create a campaign. All right. And now we get to start kind of setting things up. So what do we want the campaign to be? This will be, let's do, we'll do our standard ACE Academy of Denver. We're going to do auction type, which is really the best way to do for now. Some of these options you can really kind of get yourself in trouble for if you change them too much. And then, as we were talking before, what is the objective of our campaign? Do we want to get traffic? And really, Facebook is really good about telling us what we are looking for and what their options are. So traffic is just getting people to a page. We're not hoping that they do anything when they get there. That's always a good option. Another one is, where did it move to? Conversions. This is great when I have something that someone has done, I can measure it. So if I get them to go to a certain page and stay on it for a certain amount of time, if I have them fill out a form and opt in for list building, that's another great one for conversions. So those are the real powerful ones that I use. So traffic, I can do page likes also. So I can do traffic, page likes, or conversions. Traffic is, again, more about doing, just getting people to the page. That's great if I'm trying to get people to an educational post or an informational page on my website. Generally, if I'm going for that objective, I will have just done a post boost, like I just talked about before. Page likes is just getting people to like my page so I can come back and retarget to them later. And then conversions is actually getting someone to opt in. So for today, we're going to do just traffic. Actually, we're going to do conversions. Now I can create a new ad set. So the ad set here, we will do, we'll just do basic parents. I'm not quite sure what we're going to call it yet. And then we can create the new ad, which we'll do in a couple of minutes. Yep. So actually, I'm going to skip the ad set at this point. We'll move on to the next level. I want you all to see more of what's happening. I like to do it much more in the process of building. And as always, we're having some slow internet today. So this now gives us just an idea of what our campaign was. We can always obviously rename stuff as we wish. I can go ahead and close it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. It's still in draft mode, so we're not seeing any ads. So now I can look at the ads, the ad set. All right, so now I can look at a conversion event, which is either a website or that. So I can select what the conversion event is. Conversion events are triggered by a pixel on a page. So I can pick those out. Now, we can come down here and look at our budget. So our budget, I've got it set for the daily budget at $20. You can set it as low as $5. You can set it really as high as you want. I can schedule a start date, end time, and this is great if I want to go that path, especially if I want to set something up to maybe start on a Monday or a Saturday. Great. Don't end, or I can also set up to end. I normally like to set Facebook ads for a given end date. The reason being, I don't like them to run indefinitely. They have a purpose, so let's go ahead and use it and then end it. And that way just it shuts down. I can always come back in. Very few ads do we ever just need to run indefinitely. And then we can come in and pick the audience. So custom audiences, will talk about those in a whole other presentation. We can spend an entire hour on nothing but custom audiences, so I'm not going to dig into those right now. But now we can start looking at some other of our options. So right now I want to do everybody in the United States. I want a little bit more. So I want people that are in Denver, Colorado. Come on. There we go. So I'm going to add everyone within Denver, Colorado. And as you can see, the kind of the arc shows me how big that area is. And I can also pick a different radius if I want to. I can go bigger, smaller. This is how you can really start picking, because I can get all the way down to essentially addresses. So let's also go down to Parker, which is again where I grew up. But now Parker, I want Parker to be a real tight area. So I'm just going to do a little 10-mile arc around Parker. Boom. Because that's about the size of Parker. That way I'm not getting into like down there where Castle Rock is. I can add or subtract. The other thing I can do here is I can exclude people. So let's say if we look at this map up here, that I want to exclude people because I just know that they don't necessarily fit with what I want in Broomfield. So I can actually, I want to exclude people who are in Broomfield. And with that, again, I can bring this down to a 10-mile arc if I want to. Yeah. So now those are our locations. And you'll see over here, we've got some ad warnings because we're just setting stuff up. But it gives me an idea of the number of people that are going to see my ad. So estimated daily reach with budgets and everything else. All right, then we can come down. I can look at age. So what age is your avatar that you are looking for? Obviously 18 is probably way too young. So we're going to look at 30 to age 50. Now you have to remember who your avatar is and what age they are and why we're selecting them too. Because there are times if I'm looking to aim at even some grandparents or something, I might bump this up. There's times I'm looking at a very tight demographic that I'll make that smaller. Obviously, gender is very self-explanatory. Is the ad only directed for men? Is it only directed for women? Is it directed at all of them? A lot of times I will choose one or the other and maybe change the image slightly. Language. Now we're getting into some of the really fun stuff here. The detailed targeting. So what is it about people that I'm looking for? So let's look at private. So right here, I can look at people who are interested in private school. And then here are some other, and then what it does is it gives me suggestions, which I can choose or not. So, and you can kind of look through that and go, what grade? So we were kind of talking about this being more of an elementary school. So let's do primary school, and now we start getting into some other stuff. Now, you can also just keep looking and typing, but parents with kids with early age, because we can actually figure out what age kids are by some of the big data that Facebook uses. Facebook uses over 2,000 data points, actually, when it's running these ads. That means I can kind of pick what age the parents are. Yeah. And then, so I can do all of that. I can also exclude if I need to. Yeah, I can, which is great, where a lot of times what I'll do with exclude is I'll actually exclude people who are already in my enrollment, who are already fans of my Facebook page. The reason for that being I don't need to pay money to advertise to someone that already loves me and is already enrolled with me. I hope that makes sense. And we can look at this. We can keep adding stuff. I can do homeowner. So I can look at a demographic that says I want someone that's a homeowner, because I don't want someone who only someone that's renting. Is that a part of my demographic? Is that my avatar? These are the questions. I can also start looking here. I can look at people who like a church in my neighborhood. This is why I say, who are those thought leaders? When we talked about those questions earlier, who are my thought leaders? What events do they attend? I can put an event in here and get people that also like that. Now, at some point, it starts getting a little bit too narrow, but right now we're still reaching 420,000 people within our area. And what I love to do with this is I actually love to use a custom audience along with these options. So I can go, so it kind of keeps narrowing it down. So what we're doing is we're just looking at all of those different people, and I can add some kind of a connection. So I can do with Facebook apps, or people who like your page. Gives me just some options, events, people who responded to your event. Now, this is your event. But yeah, so that gives me a lot of options there that I can keep adding demographics. I can keep looking until I narrow it down to who is my avatar. You really should know who your avatar is first, and then determine what is the purpose of this ad. Now I can save this audience. Once I've built it, I can save it, and I generally do. And then we can come down again, conversions, conversion window tells me how long do I plan to get people to really kind of keep track of how long something is open for. How long is it being bid? All right, and then we've got standard, then we've got the delivery types. So that is everything that's involved in the ad set. So the ad set's where you do both budgets and your audience. And realize this audience you can really narrow down. I would love to show you everything, but it's always best, I think, just to have you dig in there and just look and kind of record the audiences. If you need help, obviously let me know. And then finally, we can come into the ads and we can create the ad. So we want to create a new ad. We're going to do the Ace Academy, parents, there we go. And enter an ad name. So this is just test 1. You can name them whatever you want to. I generally try and name it something that has something to do with what the ad is going to have. There we go. All right. So we are somewhat slow today. So the destination, we're just going to send them to the page that I want to. Because, again, my objective was to get stuff to happen. use an existing ad or I can update an ad with a new image. So they kind of allow you to set things as you want. I can do multiple ads if I want to. Here's where I can load the ad in. Now again, I use Canvas for this. What's my destination URL? We're obviously going to be sending them not to the Rotary today, but to Ace Academy. And then I want to send them to the blog, right? Really do not send them to your homepage. That's very rarely is that ever beneficial. They might not like this because I'm picking ones. All right, headline right here, just like with everything else. Yep. With everything with Facebook ads, we're still standard PPC, pay-per-click advertising. So discover. So we're going to do that. We're going to put a description, which is optional, which allows us to kind of explain more of what we're doing. It can show the best cards, and then over here, the images here, I can crop, change, add images, and I can then pick the different feeds that I want this ad to run on and how I want it to look. So this is if it's on desktop feed. I can do mobile news feed, and I always want to make sure that it looks good on the ad set that I'm running it on and on the device that I'm running it on. And really, that's all there is to all of this. Here we go. I think I missed this. The call to action. So you can put learn more, download, no buttons. I always have some buttons. So learn more is probably my favorite, or the contact us is the other great one that I love to use. So anyways, with that is how you set up and create and actually add inside of the full Power Editor. With that, now we're going to jump back into the slides and figure out and talk a little bit more about where we send everyone. Now we talk about getting the ads. Just a couple little things. We got to think about what page are we sending people to, and these are called landing pages again. And it's really important because if we run an ad and I get someone to click on that ad and I've paid for them, but then it doesn't do but then I take them to a page that doesn't do what I want it to do, then I've wasted that money. So the first thing about landing pages is it needs to match the type of media and intent. So if I'm bringing someone from Facebook, it needs to look like Facebook. So I don't want to jump people from a Facebook post that's about an article, an informational article, and jump them to a video. I want to take them from text to text. If I show them a video ad, I want to take them to a video. You want to make sure that people stay in that same intent because people are converting what's grabbing their attention in social media is what's getting them to click on your ad. So you want to make sure that you're staying congruous to that when you take them to the next level so that you can get them to. You also need to understand it's very difficult to get people to buy directly off of social media. People are not in Facebook specifically looking for a solution to a problem. They generally don't think they have a problem yet. If they knew they had a problem and they wanted a solution for it, they would be in Google doing Google searches, and our Google AdWords ads would be showing up to them. They're in social media to see what their friends have done and what the dancing cat is doing today. That's what they're on Facebook for. So you're not going to get them to buy and enroll with you right off the bat. What you're going to do with Facebook ads is you're going to build up that authority. You're going to build up that top of mind awareness. You're going to get to a place where when it does come time for them to enroll, you are in front of. The other point of this too is that you need to be running these ads not just at the enrollment time. You need to be running these ads and being in front of people year-round so that when it does come time to get people to enroll with you, they've already been indoctrinated and already believe that you are the expert. So when you then come up with an offer to them to enroll or to take a tour or to take the next step, they are ready for that. All right, so with that, it is time to dig into any questions. If you have any questions, obviously they're there in just type them in the chat box. I will get to all of them as quickly as I can. Again, I will stay on this. I'm also recording this, so if you have not had time to get your question asked, go ahead and type it in there, and I will try and answer it, and you can watch this recording later.